Hey everybody, it's Joe G from the new 8-Bit Heroes. Thanks for checking out this video about NESmaker, the tool set that we built to create actual hardware playable cartridge-based NES games without ever having to write a line of code. So this is kind of comical. I actually just recorded this video and was playing it back, and I realized that I'm trying to be very quiet because there's a sleeping baby in the room right next to me. And in my effort to be very quiet, I ended up sounding very depressed. So I'm going to do this again and disregard the feelings of the sleeping baby and try and make this a little bit better, this time with feeling. Today we're going to learn about telling your story in your NES game by using NPC and NPC objects, which are essentially very similar to monster objects. They actually use monster object graphics banks. They use the monster object graphics slots, all that stuff, just a few tweaks. I'm loading up a blank file real quick. I'm going to use the Mystic Searches assets just because they're pre-built and there's a lot of stuff so I can build some screens pretty easily. I'm going to give you the time-lapsed version of building a pair of screens here. Okay, good enough. So we have two screens. We've got the starting screen where I just set them at, and this temple screen right here. What we want to do is we're going to build a door that's going to make it so I cannot pass into here. There's two ways that we could do this. There's one way where we would make a tile that would disappear and turn into a portal when this screen is quote unquote saved. Or triggered, whatever. Or we could use an NPC object. And since this is a tutorial that's focusing on NPC objects, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make a big NPC object that looks like a door. You cannot pass NPC objects, and it'll tell you that it's locked if you go to try and attack it, which is great for a door. So we're gonna use that. So you would make a NPC object the same way you would make a monster. You go to monster graphics banks, and one of the reasons I wanted to use Mystic Searches assets is because I already have doors, I already have NPCs, I don't have to rebuild them just to show you how the concept works. So I'm going to jump to some of the Mystic Searches art, and you can see we got this ugly palette. We don't want that. I want a palette for a door. I'm going to rename this palette. And now this is my door right here. The pinkish color, that's going to probably be like a dark gray. That blue, we can make it like a deep blue. Then that kind of looks like a shadow. And this white, it's supposed to be kind of vines or branches. I think if we make it like that, that's going to look really good in context. So the door is 4 tiles wide and 4 tiles high. And I'm going to just go ahead real quick and drop in these. If you guys watch the tutorial on how to make monsters, it's exactly this. I'm doing exactly the same thing. No different. I'm just using one of the tile sets that happens to have NPC and friendly characters instead of monsters, but it's the exact same thing. And I'm going to have to create an object out of this the exact same way by, first of all, pasting. It's going to be static. Every frame is going to be the same. So it's going to cycle through. It's going to look like that. Go to animation info. Details. It is 32 pixels tall. Don't forget, we have a 2.5D engine with Mystic Searches, so this has to be 32 pixels high. If I were to try and jump over it, I'd have to be jumping at least 32 pixels in the air to get over it. I don't really need to change any of the rest of this stuff for an NPC, so I'm not going to. Actions. I'm going to give it an animation speed. It's really only for my own sake. Like, I like to be able to see the screen and be like, oh yeah, I did do something. I didn't forget to put something here. So I'm just going to put an animation speed of 10. It doesn't matter though, because it's all one image. I'm going to say that it is an NPC, which is going to make it so I can't walk through it, and if I attack it, it'll trigger a message. And my end action is going to be to repeat the action. So it's just going to do this action over and over and over again. No, not worried about hitbox. Bounding box is going to be the entire graphic. Oops. There we go. Entire graphic. Okay. Make sure everything's set. Awesome. Oops. Did I think I did? Yeah. Okay. Everything's set. I'm going to call this door. And I'm going to save it as a new monster. And you can see it appears in my monsters. I need to make a monster group. Right now, the only monster I have, I set my tile set. Only monster I have in there is door. And I'm just going to save it as door and dude. And we're going to make the dude in a second. Door and dude. And there's my door and dude. I'm going to assign it to that screen, just like we did in the other tutorial. So I go to my overworld. I'll put the door on this screen. Go to screen info. Again, ignore this stuff. This is stuff from the old version. Day monster. This is if it's not triggered. It's going to use tile set 3. And it's going to use the door and dude monster group. And you can see the first monster in that group is this one here. It's going to use the door palette. All good. That's what I want. And there it is right there. And I want to place it over the top of the door. Now, the tool currently shows the wrong placement details. So don't freak out when I place the monster and it shows it in the wrong spot. It actually is in the right spot. It's placing it right here. It has to do with the Z offset, but it actually shows up in the right spot when I test the game. Now, I can't walk through this once it's placed, but I want it to work like an NPC where it gives me a message. So how do I do that? Well, first I go to text, and I need to create some text. This one's just going to be locked door. And the text will just say the door is locked. Simple enough. Just like with monsters, I can't apply the text directly to a monster. I have to make a text group, and I'll show you why in a second. Right now, I'll call this text group door and dude. And I only have the one text box, and it says the door is locked. So it can contain these 3 strings. Right now, I only have 1 string, so it just says it for all of them. And then I'm going to apply this text group to a screen. So just like how I applied monsters, my screen info, my NPC day group index is going to show door and dude. Awesome. Perfect. Easy. Simple. I could have different text groups for day, night, if it's triggered during the day or if it's triggered during the night. So you can get pretty creative with how you can deliver information in this game. Maybe you got to visit somebody just at night. Maybe you save a land and now the townspeople talk to you differently or give you things or whatever. So you could do all kinds of different things with this. And I'm going to hit OK. And let's just test that. So I should be able to not walk through this door, and it should tell me that door is locked. So I'm going to test, export and test. Opens up in our custom emulator, and I go to the screen above me. There's my door. I cannot walk through it. The door is locked. Okay, awesome. Now I want a guy who sort of gives me the key to this door. He says, here, I'll give you the key, whatever. So let's make another NPC. Same way, I'm going to go to monsters. I have my NPCs in that same tile set. Now, you don't have to put your NPCs in this. This is just completely arbitrary. I'm going to give him a palette. We'll call this dude pal. And I'm going to make it, let's see. Red is going to be what color? Bluish? Sure. His skin tone is going to be like this peach color, and white. He's going to have like brown, maybe like a blondish, goldish hair. So these guys are, I'll use this wizard looking guy right here. He's 4 high and 2 wide. So I go 4, 2 wide, 4 high. And I could just start building him like this. Again, all this should be familiar from what we did in the last tutorial set. I'm just going to put these in and then flip them. And you can see why static NPCs are valuable for an S game, because you only have so much graphic space. So we can make super intricate, not intricate, but we can make super diverse sets of NPCs. But if we made a move, we would have to have all the graphics for movement. So it's a. Do you want the town to seem more active, or do you want more diverse looking people to be able to give you information? For this tile set, we chose the latter. So again, I'm going to copy the frame, paste. I could do slight animations where maybe it looks like he's kind of moving his shoulders or breathing or something. We're not going to worry about that right now. Animation info, just like before. Details. This guy's also 32 pixels because he's 4 tiles high. We don't have to worry about anything else, just like before. Actions, same exact thing I did before. Speed of 10 is an NPC. End of his action, he's going to repeat the action. Bounding box. With this guy's bounding box, though, I'm just going to set it to the bottom half of him, because I want you to be able to move behind him. If the bottom of your feet fall like right here, I want you to be able to walk behind him and you walk in front of him. And the only time that you interact with him is if your feet and his feet interact. And you'll see what I mean and how logical it looks when we're testing. Okay, we'll close that, and we're going to call this guy NPC Dude. And we're going to, oops, sorry, not there. NPC Dude. Disregard what I just did. I just tried to name his animation NPC Dude, but it's okay. It's going to keep it default animation. Save new. There we go. NPC Dude. And now I've got to put this guy inside the monster group. So the second monster in this group is going to be NPC Dude right there. I'm going to save it. And in my overworld now, I'm going to see that both the door and the dude are available choices for monsters. Door's still where it should be. I want to put the dude here. So I'm going to go to screen info, day monsters, choose my tile set, door and dude, and I'm going to make the second palette the dude pal. Okay. So monster number 1 is still the door. Monster number 2 is the dude. If I look at this, you can see the door is still a possible option for me to choose. I don't want to, though. I want to just put the dude in here. And the easiest way to do that is just to right-click, place monster 2. Now, I can go to edit monster placement details. Oops. Edit monster placement details. And you can see the door is disabled. Monster number 2 is placed. He's not random. He's not at the edge. He's actually placed at this position. Monster number 3, which doesn't exist, is disabled. Right now, they're all associated with a text string in this text group. They're all saying the door is locked. Well, we don't want him to say the door is locked. We want him to say something else. So he's using the same text group, but he's using text string number 2. So if I look down here, let's take a look at that. What do I want him to say? I want him to say key. Here is the key to the dungeon. Use it wisely. Fine. Okay. I want the text group, the second string for the second monster in that group is going to be this one. And that's automatically updated. So if I go over here now, oops, and I look at my monster placement details, it automatically updated that. So monster number 1, who's not on the screen, is going to say the door is locked. Monster number 2, who is on the screen, is going to say, here is the key to the dungeon. Use it wisely. Okay. So it's not going to unlock the door yet, but let's test that. There's my dude. First, let me make sure that my door is still there. It is still there. Awesome. Now let's go talk to this dude and make sure they both say what they're supposed to say. Here's the key to the dungeon. Use it wisely. Yes. Now, what we would want is that door to no longer be there, right? It is, and it still says the door is locked. Okay, let's make it go away when I talk to him. And this is something that's really cool. We're going to use a trigger to change the state. So right now, remember, this is the normal day state. The triggered day state looks like this. If you notice, no monsters. So if when I talk to that guy, I can trigger this screen somehow, this is what I'll get. And then I could walk right into this dungeon. How do I get it from normal to triggered? Well, let's show the test way first. If I go to projects info, I'm going to go ahead and just give myself all the relics, just so day doesn't actually change, accidentally change to night. These are all the different screen types that these screens can have. I'm going to set these all to screen number 1, and I'm going to trigger it. Okay, so this is just for testing purposes, so I don't have to play through my whole game to test what something looks like when it's triggered versus untriggered. I do need to set both of these screens to screen type number 1. So that's screen type number 1, and this is screen type number 1. Now, they're both going to do what happens during triggered. They're screen tile number 1. So that guy's not going to appear, and this door is going to be gone. Let's test that real quick. That guy's gone, and my door is gone. Okay, successful test. That's what I want to see when it's triggered, but I don't want it to be triggered at the start of the game. So I'm going to turn the trigger off. And by the way, the reason that's 1, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I want this guy's dialogue to trigger the door. It's really simple. I go to the text and I find his dialogue, which was key. And notice we have an end of text action. And there's a lot of things that can happen when you're done talking to him. One of them is NPC could be a trigger. And you could say you want at the end of his dialogue for it to trigger screen type number 1. You could also have it open to shop, and you could tell it what shop. You could also have it go to the win screen. You could also have it give you an item, and it can give you any one of the items. It can give you one of the relics. It can give you basically anything that's a commodity in the game. And then also you can activate the triggers. Lastly, and this is kind of a deep thought here, but this is automatically updated. What's going to happen to this screen when you trigger it? Because this is what's going to happen to this screen. When this screen gets triggered, this is going to turn into this, which is what we want. The door's going to go away. But what about this screen? It's going to go from this to this. Well, that's not what we want. We still want our guy standing here probably, saying, "You're welcome for your key," or something like that. Here's how I'm going to handle it right now. I'm going to handle it by duplicating this guy. So now I've got a dude copy. And you know what? I'm going to make him a dark color. I'm going to make him this other color just so we can absolutely tell the difference here that he has changed. This is a horrible palette for him, but it's just to convey the idea. So now he is, he'll show up as a dark dude. I'll even rename him Dark Dude. All right. So I'm going to put him in this, and there's a bunch of different ways to do this. I'm going to show you one. I'm going to put him as a third monster in this monster group. I'm going to save it. So now we have Door and Dude and Dark Dude. Dark Dude is going to say, Dark Dude, you are welcome for the key, you ungrateful bastard. Okay. And I'm not going to give it any action text. That's all it's going to be. You're welcome for the key, you ungrateful bastard. And in my text groups, I'm going to make this third one Dark Dude. This is what he's going to say. Automatically updated, except right now there is no Monster 3 being called in this room, right? So how is this going to work? What I want to have happen is, in this triggered state, I want monster number 3 to appear there. I want this guy to appear there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to screen info, and during day triggered monsters, I'm going to have it select Dark Dude. And this was, if you remember, it's not going to change anything, but this was this. This palette works with this guy. This worked with these two things. Now when this screen's triggered, it'll have a choice between those 3 monsters. Okay. This is normal. This is triggered. Notice nobody's there. Nothing is there. I didn't place any monsters in day triggered. So I can right click and say, when it's triggered, I want to place monster 3. And now dark dude is going to be there when it's triggered. So when it's normal, it'll be this one. When it's dark, it'll be this one. And I could make something completely different happen at night, and at night when it's triggered. And they could all say different things, or maybe at night it's monsters. It's not NPCs, whatever. There's a lot of different choices. If I want to look and make sure that I've got the text strings right, if I go to edit monster placement details, you can see when this dude shows up, when you talk to him, he's going to say, "You are welcome for the key, you ungrateful bastard." Okay, so when you trigger this screen itself and go off and come back on, it's going to show the day triggered, which is going to give me that third NPC object's text string. So let's test this. Hopefully I did everything right. Just in case, let me put this back on normal and export. And let's test how this is going to work. So first things first, I'm going to go up and check that door. And that door is definitely there, and it is locked. I cannot get in it. Okay. I'm going to come down, ask this dude for his key. Hey, dude, can I have the key? Here's the key to the dungeon. Use it wisely. All right. If I go back now, it's triggered, so you can see the door's no longer there. I could go in there now. I'm not going to, because the warp's going to lead me to a nowhere screen. And now if I go back, I notice, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot, right now he's animating at a speed of 10. I forgot to copy and paste, but now we definitely know that he's different. I forgot to set all of his animation frames to that dark dude, and it was a duplicate, that's why he's flashing. But we definitely know that's his anger showing right there, his magical anger. So, you are welcome for the key, you ungrateful bastard, right? So now we've got the trigger set, and that's how triggers work with NPCs, and it opens up so many possibilities as far as storytelling. The only drawback being how limited you are in space on a NES game, but you can tell some pretty complex stories, even though you can't use like endless verbiage the way that you would in a modern RPG or something like that. Last thing I'm going to show today is I made slashable bushes and stoppable rocks, and let me get off this screen. And I want to show what happens when I slash and stomp them. Now, slashing them, it's pretty obvious. It's, link to the past tile slash, and they go away. Except, notice they're leaving a weird tile behind. That's not the tile I want them to leave. Same thing with these stomp objects. Oops. If I stomp on them, they're leaving this weird tile behind. And that's not the tile I want to leave behind. What's cool, we've set up a way for tiles that change for you to be able to dictate what tile set graphic replaces them when they change. Now, tile sets aren't huge, but this still allows you to sort of freeform make tile sets and not have to worry about keeping everything in the same place. And I'll show you exactly how this tile set's working. So if I go to special tiles, I can see I've got under slash tile and under stomp tile. Right now, it's giving me a null value. What I want is under a slash tile, I want to have this graphic show. And under a stomp tile, you know what? I'm going to have these broken rocks show. And now when I slash a bush, it's going to show me this tile. And there we go. And when I stomp, it's going to show me this tile. And let's test that. Now I can slash these bushes, and I can stomp these rocks, and I get something that looks logical as tiles underneath. And that's sort of it for showing you guys how you can make NPCs, how you can make screen triggers, how you can create even doors like this that open using just NPCs and monsters, monster objects, and also showing you those under tiles. What I hope to do with the next tutorial is what I know a lot of you guys are waiting for and asking about, and how do we actually make this our own? How do we make this not just Mystic Search's hex editor, essentially. And so in the next tutorial series, I'm going to show you how to do things like create a custom start screen, create your own hero, and it doesn't have to be sized the same way as our hero is, either in that tutorial or the one directly following. I'm going to show you how you can even use the current engine, even without any tweaks, to sort of start making games that are in different genres. So thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see what you guys create with this tool. If you want to see more videos about NESmaker and how to create your own NES games, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and help us get the word out further by sharing this video on social media.